Hi, my sweets. Okay, so I have done the base of my face. I have done my primer, my under eye corrector, my foundation, my concealer. So let's set the wets with the dries. Today I'm going to be using the Mary Kay translucent powder, but there are so many options between loose powders and compact powders, colored versus translucent. So let's talk about them. So translucent powder is great for everybody. It's translucent, you can't see it. So it's going to set everything for everybody. This is what I carry in my makeup when I do client faces, because again, it matches everybody. And then it's also great, like if you do some colors and you need to set different types of colors, it's not gonna show. Sometimes I do like to use a loose colored powder, and what that's going to do is that's going to add extra coverage to my face. So if I took a powder like this, but it's like, say, medium ivory, that's going to add another layer of color to my face, so I want to make sure it matches my skin tone, but it's going to make sure that I have extra coverage. Sometimes people will use those without using like a foundation, just to help even out their skin tone for the day. Almost like a powder version of the CC cream, but it doesn't have that SPF in it. Does that make sense? Okay, and then there are compact powders as well. Now, I personally like to have a compact powder in here. It's a little dirty, but I like to use my powder, if you can see. It's another great option. It's great for traveling. It doesn't leave as much of a mess as a loose powder will, but it's also going to give a coverage that's in between the translucent loose and the colored loose powders. Okay, and personally, when I do like my eyeliner and I clean it up, I use my my compact powder there to make sure it's all set. But otherwise, again, today we're going to be using the translucent powder. Now, I like to personally keep mine just like open inside, so there's a lot of product in here. I'm going to tap a little bit onto the lid. Now, for something like this, you want to use like the all over powder brush. Big fluffy brush. This is not the Mary Kay brush, but it's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to tap it in here and then tap off the excess back into the lid there. This is my personal, so I can tap it back in here and be just fine. I usually start with my under eyes, and you just want a light dusting to set the dries. I'm going to, or set the wets. I'm going to add more powders on top with like blush and contour, etc. So I don't want to have a lot of powder already on there. I just want to set it so those other powders go on nice and smooth, so they're not clumping because they're stuck with the wets. But we also want a light dusting. We don't want anything too heavy. Now, nothing against heavy makeup. I personally can wear some heavy makeup. I'm just saying this is something you don't want to look cakey. There are other products you can play with, okay? But as you see, I'm tapping off the excess every time and just slowly making my way around my face. I'm going to leave the top of my eyelids bare for my eyeshadow, but everything else is done. And now this is the messiest part, is putting the lid back on, just very gently. Still gonna make a little bit of a mess, but that's what you get with a loose powder. But again, very light dusting. It helps set the wets so they last all day. And keep in mind, I have like a combination of oily skin, so I'm more oily in my T-zone, and I do this to help make sure the product doesn't break up throughout the day, because I noticed if I just have a wet base and no dries on top of it, my oil tends to sneak through and merge with the wets, kind of like how oil and water don't mix. Well, our products are water-based. And so if I don't set it with the dry to keep it in place, the oil and water are going to separate the makeup and like show pores or whatever during the day. So we just want to set the wets with the dries, very light dusting. It feels very minimal on my face, and that's what I want. So I hope that was helpful. And thank you for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments.